All right, if you clicked on this video thinking that it's a video about, how to save every single dollar, how to not spend the things that you want to spend money on, scarcity, get rid of that mindset. Money scarcity is going to bring you nowhere in life. Save, 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 save. Don't spend, don't spend, don't spend, don't spend. That is literally going to ruin any financial success that you might have in the future. And today I'm going to show you how you can build a budget prioritizing the things that you want to buy rather than the things that keep you from buying other things. There's other situations though, like maybe someone is really having a hard time paying their rent, so they build a budget to actually genuinely get themselves on track because their income is so low. That's understandable, but I'm sorry, this isn't your video. This video is for people that have an income but want to really take control of it and take control of all the cash flow coming in, seeing where all the expenses are going, how to manage those expenses, and how to actually cut the expenses of things that you don't need to reinvest that money into something that's actually worth your time and worth your happiness and worth your money. So in this video, I'm gonna be showing you the app Every Dollar. Every Dollar is a really good app because I've never really seen any budgeting app like it. It's very intuitive and there's features that a lot of other apps just have paywalls for no reason. Just it feels like a lot of these other apps have a lot of paywalls, but Every Dollar really has everything you need to get started for free and more, in my opinion, for free. I'm gonna be starting on a fresh account today to show you all of the things that you need to do on Every Dollar to set it up just right. And it's really not that hard. Just like I said, it's super intuitive, super easy. But before we get into that, I just want to talk about how a lot of people feel like that budgeting is a restrictment, and that when they're budgeting, they're restricting themselves. By budgeting, you can see what you're spending too much money on. You can reinvest that money that you're spending on random shit into something that's actually useful and something that's going to not only make you happy, but bring you further in life. All right, so now that I got all that out of the way, we're gonna hop into Every Dollar right now. All right, so this is what you're gonna see when you make an account first on Every Dollar. What is our budget plan? Get started, okay. All right, so I'm gonna just use numbers that I think of. I'm gonna kind of be estimating a little bit, but all of this stuff still applies. I'm gonna take you through everything, so don't worry about it. So, let's say our name is John Doe, and let's say the monthly income is $3,500. Okay, all right. Okay, so this is premium right here. If you want all of your expenses to be automatically tracked, there's this. But with the manual, it's still easy to go in there and actually do it manually every single day, and they don't make it fucking hard as shit on you to do it. Okay, before we do any of this, we need to open a Google Doc. Once you have a Google Doc open, what I want you to do is categorize each expense from last month. And with your income, I know I put in 3.5K, but what you want to do is look at your pay stubs. Find your two lowest paying pay stub. If you have consistent pay, have those pay stubs be the baseline for your income. Or if your income is pretty consistent and you don't really have a lowest, then just grab your last two pay stubs and you should be good. Add those up together. That's your monthly income. I'm sure you can figure that out. Now, what you want to do is you want to go into your bank account, look at every expense, transportation, transportation. Jesus Christ. Okay, so transportation. Let's say you spent $120 on transportation, food, $500, phone bill, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. And then once all those are added up, once you have all those added up, see what you've been spending way too much money on. See if that DoorDash number says 180. If it says 180, you're cooked. You need to, if your food is $500 and your DoorDash is 180, you need to reevaluate what the fuck you're putting in your body. Not only that, but you need to reevaluate what you could be spending $180 on a month. Some people are spending this much money on DoorDash. It's not uncommon for people to order out every night in our society. See, May budget. Literally what I did is I said groceries. All right. Every single time we spend money on groceries, I marked it. Every single time we spend money on DoorDash, look, 2, 4, 6, 8, 90. Is that $78 on DoorDash? This is what I'm talking about. This is what was going on in May. You know, Lime scooter, that's a transportation. It's just an electric scooter you drive around. I was spending like $180 on that a month. And I was like, fuck no. So that's why I made a budget, because there was a lot of things I was spending way too much money on that I didn't even know. Because all these small things, you know, you hear it as a kid, you hear it as a teenager, all these small things, they add up. They genuinely add up, bro. Okay, so once you have all this filled out, once you have categorized every single expense, and just from last month, just do it from last month, put all those expenses in categories, add them up, figure out how much money you're spending on what, and then that should be your first big clue on how you're gonna organize your budget. So we're gonna go back into every dollar here, giving you know, just delete these savings. Okay, so if John Doe is making 3.5K a month, probably save about a third of that, maybe a quarter. You know, a third I think is pretty good because it's pretty close to half, but it's not as restricting as half. Most of the time, you really don't need to have that much in your savings. People save a lot more than they need to. The only reason that you should save is if you genuinely have an excess of money. If you, and this is only talking to those people that really want to actually be financially successful and they want to accumulate a large amount of income. Not spending money is not how you get there. It's hard work. So, you know, okay, let's say Joe saves about $600 a month. That's pretty good. That's not bad. You know, a lot of people struggle with just that. Okay, housing. So, you know, rent, $1,600. You know, these are going to be different for everyone. So I'm not going to do every single one of these. This is up to you. You know, if you have a section that you created towards, you know, okay, if you have security cameras and that came on your bank statement, you know, click the security, and you can add your own custom ones too. So let's say for whatever reason you have to replace your water filters every month. So water filter, okay, whatever. I don't know why it's only doing one. You get it. I'm not an expert at this screen because this is new to me, but you know, I can walk you through the gas, you know, let's say 80. You can go through all of these yourself, type in your expenses and whatnot that you calculated inside of the Google Doc. You can use Google Docs, you can use spreadsheet. Personally, when I did it, I used a spreadsheet. It says we've completed our budget. This is the main screen right here. So there's these little sections. First, you got your income, and you can create these sections. You can make more. You go to the bottom, add group. There at the top, you can see it says we have $1,200 left. So that tells you the money that you haven't budgeted yet. This is the money that we haven't budgeted yet. So if we actually want to maybe do $800, watch this. You know, it goes down. What you want to do on every dollar first is put all of the fixed expenses in here. Fixed expenses are anything like a phone bill, mortgage, or a rent, you know, water bill, stuff like this, trash. You know, gas is like kind of a fixed thing. First, we need to evaluate everything that's fixed. So where's fixed? Okay, so now that you got all your, and there's a lot of extra groups here, you're gonna have to determine what expenses are fixed for you. You know, these would be my, you know, I don't have car insurance I have to pay. I don't have a phone bill I have to pay. My mom's still paying for that, you know, bless her heart. But, you know, I do have to pay rent. And my rent is $1,600. So after you're done putting down all of your fixed expenses, then that's when you can really move on to, you know, all those little things, all those little things you might want to spend a little bit, you know, extra money on. So like, I don't know, maybe, you know, groceries, you know, we'll put $500 there for one person, get some high quality groceries. It's not that bad. You know, vitamins. Vitamins is something that a lot of people want to spend their money on, but they feel like they're too expensive. Now, we can still have money there, and we can actually put a large amount of money there if we want. You could spend $60 on vitamins on, you know, this budget. We still have $600 left. And assuming you don't have literally all of these, like childcare, like pet care. But that's the idea. We're not spending money on a bunch of stuff like, you know, entertainment. Let's say we want to set a goal to only spend $40 on entertainment this month. But, you know, maybe next month, oh, you know, I want to cut back even harder on entertainment, you know, $20 a month. Okay, you can get a gym membership because you're saving money. You know, you just trade it off the expenses there. Okay, let's say we're doing, you know, those Lime scooters, just like me. And let's, you know, maybe we spent $160 last month. If you literally just walked, like me, if I literally just walked to some places, I could genuinely cut this down to $100. That's $60 I can use for gas money to travel where I want. You know what I mean? All right. So now that I've kind of basically broken this part down to you, there's all these little types of cool things. So like, you know, let's say we spent some money on traveling. So we're going to click on this little plus button right here. Let's say we spent $40 on some road trip snacks or something. I don't know.
Gummy bears, some kitty, some Emmy.
It's the trucker diet right here.
That's right, baby.
See this line right here? This is the ratio of how much money we spent to how much money is remaining. So this is how much money we spent, this more faded line right here. And this is how much we have remaining. So it gives you a nice visual representation of every single little thing. And anytime you make a purchase, you know, let's say you did rent, and then you just put, you know, the amount of rent that you paid. It can either be an income or an expense. You know, at this, you know, in this scenario, it's obviously an expense. Track transaction, boom, look. Now, if we go over budget, if this is, you know, $20 over budget, it's gonna tell us, big red right here. It says, no, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work, buddy. All right. And then you can see right here on this side, it's going to give us a whole summary of percentages, what percent of our budget, you know, is being spent on that specific thing. You know, rent is obviously going to take close to half of your income most of the time. Things like this, like savings 17 to 20%, you know, that's a really good number, I think. But it's gonna basically tell you all these things. Now, don't take anything I say too seriously when it comes to financial advice, because I'm really not a finance guru yet. You know, I'm just reaching out to anyone out there on YouTube that really needs to budget and has really been looking for a budgeting app, because this budgeting app is genuinely kind of niche. Like, it took me a while to find this budgeting app for whatever reason. All right, and then you can go to transactions, tracked. You can see all the things that you spent money on, edit them, delete them. And you know, that's just really the basics to this budgeting app. It's really simple, straightforward. Like, I feel like I didn't really need to explain much, because it's really just, you know, super self-explanatory. It's simple to, you know, put your saving goals straight up in there. It's simple to, you know, say I spent this much money on that. Gives you a visual representation. All you have to do is just go in here after every single purchase or at the end of the day and track your expenses. I think it's really easy. But if you buy premium, it can automatically track expenses, which doesn't really work too well, if I'm being honest, but you can try it out if it works for you. All right, if you want to use this app, it will be in the description. But as far as that, I hope you guys had an amazing day, and this video taught you something about how to budget, how to manage your money, and maybe you got a laugh out of it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.